With PhotoVibrance, you can transform any photo into a mesmerizing moving image in just a few clicks. Simply drop your image into Vibrance and choose the effect you want to create. Then select your preferred resolution. Inside the editor is where the magic happens. Click around the parts of your image you want to remain still, then choose the motion arrows to add movement to areas in your image you want to bring to life. It's really that simple. You can also add text, images, as well as special effects and sky replacements to make your images really grab attention. In our advanced editor, you can also create incredible 3D parallax animations. Control the path and rotation of the camera, adjust the easing of your animations, and even add real 3D particles to your images. Once you're ready, choose your file format and hit publish. That's it. Get started transforming your images into breathtaking motion pictures with PhotoVibrance.
I came from the mud, there's dirt on my hands. They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon. When the sun rises, when the sun
Welcome to PhotoVibrance. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get started creating animated images inside of Vibrance. So you have two options. You can either drag and drop an image over here or click to browse from your desktop, or you can go through the stock image integrations and search for an image using Pixels or Pixabay. I'm going to go and grab an image from my desktop and just drop it in like so. So now over here, what we can do is change the resolution, and you can set custom dimensions over here. If you select custom, you can go back to the original image size, or you can set sizes that are good for social media, like the square one over here. So I'm just going to select that and click on next. Okay, great. So inside the editor we've got options such as adding text. You can add your logo or an image, you can add effects, shapes, you can adjust the size again, and you can publish your project as well as save your project to work on it at a later stage. So what I'm going to do first of all is begin animating. So what you can do is just zoom into the image over here, and you want to go through and set some anchors where you don't want the image to move. So I'm going to go and grab single and just simply start clicking around here. And I just want to, set the water in motion. So I want to kind of, freeze everything around the water. Okay, great. You can also use the path option if you want to just simply click and then click and hit enter, and then it will basically add the paths at the end like that. So I'll just go in and I'll just hit the selection tool actually and go and just move these around a little bit. Okay, great. So now I've got my anchors in place. What I want to do is add some arrows to make the image move. So I'm going to select single and just simply click and drag. And what you want to do is not make the arrows too big. You kind of want to make them this kind of size, depending on how much motion you want to add. The bigger the arrows, more motion you'll add to your picture. So you just want to kind of draw it out like that. We can keep going, add some more arrows, and then click on the play button. You can see we've got this nice kind of image like this, and what you want to do is just kind of go in there and maybe add a few more arrows like so. And there we go. We can also adjust the speed of the animation by just simply dragging this out like this. And what I also want to do with this one is I want to add some fog. So I'm going to go over to the effects over here, and I'm just going to scroll down and add some fog. So I'm going to go grab this one here, kind of zoom out, and then just kind of place it near the bottom like that. and I'm going to set the speed to slow for this fog, okay? So let's just play this through. And it's looking really nice. So once you're ready and you're happy with your image, what you can do is go to the publish button over here. You can select whether you want it to be an MP4 or a GIF image. I'm going to go with MP4, and let's just set it to 2 loops and click on publish and give it a name. So let's call this one Waterfall. And you'll be able to see that image will start exporting, and once it's ready we can go view our animated image. So let's just go ahead and preview the video, so let's check this out. And that's how easy it is to go through and create animated images inside of PhotoVibrance. In this video, I'm going to show you how to animate this lion and basically make the hair move inside of PhotoVibrance. So what you want to do with an animal like a lion is you want to kind of mark out first the face. So I'm going to go to the path for the anchors and just simply draw around the face to add like a structure to this image. So I'm just going to quickly go through and add it around here like so, and then hit enter. And I also want to go and add some anchors around the eye so that this also stays in place while the image is moving. So I'm just going to add around the eyes and also around the nose like so, and that's looking good. And also probably around the ears, I'm just going to add some anchors around here and also around here as well. Okay, cool. So now what I can do is go to the arrows, and I'm going to use the path one over here for the arrows and just simply draw out a path of where I want this hair to animate. So I'm going to go with the actual kind of flow of the hair. So just kind of bring it out like this with the mane, bring this down. Also I'll bring some arrows over here. And also around the face I'm going to add some arrows. And yeah, this is looking quite good. So what I'm going to do is just quickly preview that and show you what that looks like. Cool, so as you can see it's looking really, really nice right now. And it just really helps you to get more attention to your images. So that's looking really good. I'm also going to add some over on the ears up here. Add some more motion. Maybe around here as well. And maybe a little bit up here. Cool, so that's looking really, really good. And yeah, what I could do now is just simply go through, click on publish, and choose whether I want it to be an MP4 or a GIF, and publish this onto my desktop. So I hope you enjoyed this example of how you can animate hair on animals and really bring your images to life inside of PhotoVibrance. In this video, I want to show you how to animate this image to make the dust really kind of fly around with PhotoVibrance. So I'm just going to go to the path for the anchors. I'm just going to draw out around this picture to the places that I want to stay still. So I'm just going to go through and quickly draw around this bike. Okay, cool. So once you've drawn out your path, hit enter on your keyboard and you'll be able to see it locks in all those anchors. And you can go and manually add anchors by clicking on single and just simply pointing and clicking around where you want to add your anchors. Once we've isolated the areas, what we can do now is add in our arrows. And for kind of dust, the best one probably would be to go with the single arrows. If you're drawing out water and things like that, you can use a path and that looks really good. So I'm just going to go and draw out some arrows over here. And let's just bring them up. And depending on how much motion you want to add, you can draw out your arrows bigger or smaller. Usually it's best to go with not too big ones. But what you want to do is, just draw them out and see what it looks like. A lot of this kind of animating is kind of trial and error, so you kind of have to play around with it, see what looks good to you, and make adjustments. So I'm just going to draw out a few more, like this, maybe one up here as well, and one there. And let's just preview what that looks like. Cool, so that's looking really, really good. I can go through and adjust the speed. Like that, that's looking really nice. And maybe move this one, make it a little bit smaller, play around with that. And yeah, let's preview this again. So So it's looking really, really cool. So that's how you can create a really nice looking dust effect using the motion arrows inside of PhotoVibrance. And once you're done, simply go to publish. You can then choose whether you want it to be MP4 or a GIF image and how many loops you want. By default, all the animations in here go through in loops. So if you're playing it really fast, it's going to loop quite quickly and then start again like that. So you want to kind of play around how much you want it to loop. And yeah, you can just go with one loop if you're going to be posting on social media, because it will automatically loop anyway. Or you can, if you want to make a longer video, you can just add 2 loops, for example, and publish that. Okay, great. So now I've published this video. You have to see, I'll just resize it down. You have to see what it looks like. So it's looking really, really cool. And what you could also do as well, if you want to have it in different formats, after you've published it, what you can do is adjust the size. Let's say I want to make it a square one like that for Instagram, for example. I could just go through and bring this over, done editing, and then I can go through and republish that as another video. So I hope you enjoyed this example of how you can create some really cool looking effects with your images inside of PhotoVibrance. In this video, I'm going to show you how to animate an iris inside of PhotoVibrance. So what you want to do is, first of all, just draw out the anchor point, so where you want the image to stay still. So I'm just going to draw around this iris here. And also I'm going to draw around the pupil and the inside of the eye, like so. Cool. So what we could do is either draw a path and make it like rotate around, or we could draw some arrows kind of going outside like this and making it kind of expand and move around like this. So I'm going to try this one like this, for example. Just add the arrows to draw the motion. Cool, so I'm going to play this through, see what it looks like. Cool, and as you can see, it really is eye-catching, literally, with this eye. And what you could also do, as I said, if you, for example, let's go and select just the arrows. I'm just going to select this and remove those arrows. We could go with the path and just draw around this kind of loop, I guess, of motion, and just preview that as well. And that looks super cool, as you can see. So you can really have fun, being creative with certain images like these eyes. And yeah, that's how you can animate an iris inside of PhotoVibrance. In this video, I'm going to show you how to turn any photo or product shot into a nice looking video ad with a few tweaks inside of PhotoVibrance. So the first thing I want to do is click on text and add some text. I'm just going to type in 50% off all. And I'll also go through and adjust the text font, make it VBAS like that. And I'm just going to bring this down a bit like so, and position like so. And click on text again, and I'm going to say off all sweaters. So, and with this text font, I'm going to go and go with Josephine Sands, and I'll also adjust the letter spacing like so, and then bring this down. So I'm just going to select this and put it under like so. Cool. So 50% off all sweaters. Now what I want to do is add some effects to really bring this to life. So I'm going to go to effects over here, and I'm going to scroll down and find the particles. So let's go over to particles. And this one here looks really good, so I'm just going to simply left click on that, click on expand to make it full width and height. And then what we want to do is draw out the mask so that we can reveal only certain parts of this video. So I'm going to adjust the pencil size, make it quite big, and just quickly draw out around her so that you can have the particles just showing up around the image. Okay, cool. So that's just a quick rough draw. I'm just going to click on finish. You have to see right now, if I play this through, we've got a really nice looking video ad with a really nice looking effect where it looks like the particles are kind of going around and behind her. So you can adjust the speed over here. You can then go through and add your logo by clicking add on image. And yeah, so that's how to create a really nice looking video ad from any product shot inside of PhotoVibrance. In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the sky on any image inside of PhotoVibrance. So what I'm going to do is simply go to Effects, and then go to Skies, And you can simply hover your mouse on the different types of skies and then left click to add it to your canvas. And then I'm just going to simply resize it a little bit like this and maybe place it up a bit like so. The next thing you want to do is click on draw mask, and you can simply just zoom in a bit and draw out the edge of your mask over here and then fill it in once you've added the edge. So I'm going to quickly go through and do this. Okay, great. So once you've drawn out the mask, simply hit finish, and then what you can do is adjust the edge fading by simply playing around with this, and you see that it helps you to basically merge the footage together so it looks a lot cleaner. And you can also adjust the speed of your video. So let's click on play, and you can see how nice that looks to really create a lot of attention to your image. And you can also adjust the speed as well, overall speed of the video, by dragging this down like so and placing it like that. So that's how to quickly create a sky replacement inside of PhotoVibrance. In PhotoVibrance, you can easily save and open projects as well as share your projects with other users. So let's say you go ahead and create a project. What we can do is click on save over here and give this project a name, and then save it on your desktop. And then if I go ahead and exit this project, over on the home screen you can go to open project over here and just simply double click on the project, and you'll be able to see it opens up the project ready for you to continue editing. And you can go ahead and obviously share these project files, these PVP files like so, with other users. So let's go ahead and, for example, want to open this one over here. Just double click on that and it goes ahead and opens up all the projects with all your settings, and you've got your image ready to start editing or to collaborate with another user. Hi, in this video I want to run through what are keyframes and how you can use them to create animations inside of PhotoVibrance. A keyframe inside of PhotoVibrance basically tells us where we want to position the camera. So right now by default we have a keyframe at 0 seconds, and this right now shows us the position of where we are with this camera. Okay, so if I move it there, this is the position at 0 seconds where the camera is going to be. Now I want to move the camera, and I want it to basically move it down like so I can reveal this text here. So what I'm going to do is click on add keyframe, and I'm going to place it about 4 seconds. So it's going to start at 0 seconds and it's going to start at this position. Then at 4 seconds I'm going to click on this one to select it, and I'm going to move the camera so that it moves from this position to this position like so after 4 seconds. So I might just zoom in as well a little bit, and it's basically setting the position and also the scale or the zoom of this camera. Okay, so at 4 seconds now, this is the position and the scale of this keyframe. Now if I go back to 0, you'll see this is where we started, and now we've got at 4 seconds it's like so. So if I play this through, you've got this animation. Now if we want to create another keyframe to go from this position to another position, what we do is click on add keyframe, and let's say about at 7 seconds, so we're going to go from 4 seconds, so 3 seconds in between it's going to move to another position. So what we can do is maybe move this back down like so to hide that text again. Maybe we can zoom out slightly, maybe rotate it slightly even if we want, and let's position it like so. So now this is the end position of this other keyframe. Okay, so let's just preview that. Now if we want to create an animation where it goes from here to here, and then it stays here for 1 second and then moves to here, what we can do is simply select this keyframe, this position, and then double click, and it's going to create another keyframe at with the same values of this keyframe. So it's going to stay still here, and then it's going to move over like so. So let's preview that. And as you can see, now it's moving back like so. So that's just a quick overview of keyframes. The best thing to do is go through and have a play around with it. But basically we're setting positions where we want the camera to move to after a certain amount of time. So the time is down over here, and the current timeline is 10 seconds long. You can adjust the duration of the timeline as well by dragging this out like so. And yeah, that's a quick overview of using keyframes inside of PhotoVibrance. Hi, in this video, I'm going to show you how to get started creating the parallax 3D effect on your images. So I'm going to go grab this image of an owl. And once you drop it in here, you have to select either the magic motion or the parallax effect. So I'm going to go with the parallax effect over here. And in the next step, we can go through and adjust, the size of, the image, the resolution that you want. I'm going to go with original just to make it so I can see the entire picture, and then go to the next step over here. Now, on the first step for the parallax effect, what we need to do is cut out our main object or objects. And then in the next step, we need to go through and actually fill in the gap where we've cut it out. And then we can go through into the editor and start animating the parallax effect. So what I'm going to do is click on the select object tool, and then just simply go through and start drawing out around this main object. So what I'm going to do is just kind of cut out this branch as well as the owl, and I'll just quickly go through and do this. So you basically just have to left click around it like so. You can use the scroll on your mouse to zoom in and zoom out, and you want to try and go as close to the border as you can, or the outline of your objects. Okay, so you can kind of play around with like this, and once you've gone through and added all your dots, you can then make adjustments to it and add new dots as well. So I'm just going to go through quickly and just add these dots in. Okay, cool. So once you've just connected the dots like so, you can go through and have a look at your outline, and you can, go ahead and adjust the dots like this. You can also add new dots by holding down Control and left clicking to add another dot. Maybe I'll just quickly make some adjustments over here. It doesn't have to be perfect because we can add a blur kind of outline in the editor to make it more smoother. But let's just make it like so. Okay, cool. So that's looking pretty good. And what I want to do now is give this a name. So let's call this one owl, like that. And if you want to select multiple objects, you can also go through and click select object again and draw it out again, and you have multiple selections. So I've done this. I'm going to do the next step over here. And in this step, what we can do is basically we need to fill in the gaps of the object that we just cut out. Because when we go over to the next step over here into the editor, once we start playing around with the camera, you'll have to see if I just, maybe I'll drag this over a little bit. If I start playing around the camera, you can see that we've got this black background cut out, and it doesn't look very good. So we need to go back over here to the next step and use the clone tool. So if I go to start cloning, I'm going to bring up the radius quite big, so you can see I've got a really big selection over here. And what I'm going to do is simply go close to the edge of that cutout, hold down Control to take a sample of this part of the image, and left click on it. And then I just need to move my mouse over slightly, and you'll have to see that it basically copies that image like so. And I can start filling in this gap. And you can also make other selections. So let's say you want to select over here, just move over slightly and just add in your, your kind of crop like this. So let's just go, and I'll just quickly grab this and move this all the way down over here. And yeah, you want to try your best to make it look as good as you can. The best thing to do is just to follow along with me with this image, because it's quite a good one to start off with. And as you get better and you figure out how it all works, you can play around with more complex images. But yeah, you just go through. You can zoom in as well, and you can adjust the radius to make it a bit smaller. And then just left click to select, and then play around with that like so. So what I'm going to do is, just go through and keep filling this in. I'll make this a bit bigger, and then we can go through and hop over to the editor and start animating this. Okay, cool. So that's looking pretty good. It doesn't have to be perfect. But yeah, you can go through and play around with that. And then we go to the next step over here. Now, as you can see, if I just move this camera over here, you'll be able to see we've got this really nice looking 3D effect. And if I zoom in, you can see we've got our branch and our owl, and it's a lot further away from the actual background. And the closer I move my objects to the left, so over here, you'll be able to see that we've got more of a 3D effect like that, okay? And the reason is that over here is the beginning of the camera, or the kind of the closest part of the camera, and here's the end of the camera. So if I go back over to layers, it's easier to move over here. If I bring this complete to the right and then go back to camera, you'll be able to see that it's basically moving as one object with the background. But if I go back over to layers and then move this over, yeah, about here, and go to camera, it's a lot more 3D, okay? So what we want to do is go back to layers, and over here you can add things like text. So let's just add, let's say zoo, and I might adjust the letter spacing, and I'll make this text font BBAS and position it like so. And let's say open. And I'll adjust the letter spacing as well, and I'll go with something like works ends. Okay, something like that looks alright. And one other thing as well I want to add is a butterfly. So I'm going to go over to effects over here and select this butterfly here. And I'll just resize this one down and position it over on the branch like that. And I'm going to go with the speed of this animation to make it slow, okay? So now I've got a butterfly, and what we want to do is we want this butterfly to rest on the branch. So to do that, we want to make sure that it's in the same position as the object of the owl or the branch, like that. So that's on the same basic axis as this object. So when it zooms in, it's not going to fly away, it's just going to stay there, okay? So what we want to do now is begin adding things like particles and camera animation. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to particles. I'm going to turn this on, and you can select different particles over here. You can also upload your own custom PNG icons or images, and you can create your own, have your own particles. This one looks really good, and I might adjust the blur slightly. I think it looks alright actually. Maybe I'll bring down maybe the size slightly like this. Maybe bring it, let's have a look, something like 30 might be alright. Okay, cool. So now we can create the animations. So I'm going to start over here at this position. I might rotate it slightly like this and bring it maybe across a little bit like that. So this is going to be the start position, and then I'm going to double click on the timeline at 5 seconds to create a new keyframe. And these keyframes you can obviously position where you want. It's basically creating an animation from this point to this point. And at this point, I've got this one selected. What I can do is use the plus icons over here to zoom it in, and also, you know, drag it out to the left slightly maybe, and maybe also rotate it. Let's go back like this maybe. Okay, that's good. I might also adjust the text so it's on the same position as the other text, like that. Okay, something like this looks quite cool. So it's going to go from here, and it's going to zoom into here. And yeah, let's just preview that actually. Okay, that's looking really good. Maybe I'd have the text slightly in line, I guess, with the other objects, so something like this. And I could actually rotate it so that the text is in line with the camera. So something like that looks good. You play around like that. And you can also, if you select the camera and go to settings, you can adjust the rotation and the scale over here as well. If you want to rotate it like this, things like that. Bring it down to 0 actually, like that. And yeah, that looks pretty good. So let's just preview that. Cool. I think it actually looks better if you actually rotate it in. So I might just rotate this slightly. Let's say we start from, maybe we can start from about this -6, and I'll zoom in a little bit as well. So let's say from that kind of position, and then it zooms in like this. Okay, cool. Let's just preview that. Okay, that's looking really, really good. So one other thing we can also do is you can adjust the duration of your timeline. So if you want it to be longer than 10 seconds, when you export it, you can obviously adjust this however long you want. I'm going to go with 10 seconds. And what I want to do is I want this to start at this position and also end at this position. So with this keyframe select, I'm just going to double click to create another keyframe, and it's going to be the same position as this one, and just drag this right down to the end. And it's going to go from here, and it's going to go back to here, so that when I play this on my website or on Facebook, it's going to continually loop without any jitters, okay? And one other thing as well, you can also adjust the easing of your animations. So from here to this keyframe, it's going to have this kind of easing. You can create like some really bouncy ones, elastic ones as well. I'm going to go with, let's go with power 3 for this one. And for this one from here to here, I'm going to go with sine. It looks quite nice. So let's just preview that. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's how you can go through and create a really nice looking parallax effect. Make sure to check out the other tutorials as well with more advanced techniques and things like that. Once you've finished creating your video, you can go to save the project, or you can publish it by clicking on publish and just add your own, choose where you want to save it to and just publish it. But yeah, that's the main things in creating this parallax effect. Have a go yourself. Make sure to download this photo and try it out as well to get started, and yeah, have fun creating.
Welcome to PhotoVibrance. My name is Arthur Wainio, and I will be your guide today on this tutorial. Today we're going to focus on creating a video with PhotoVibrance of a face or faces. So let's go ahead and jump right into the software. Okay, great. Now that you have the software open, I'm going to assume that you already watched the basic tutorials. And if you haven't done that, you can just go ahead and click on this button right here and go ahead and go do that. So first thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and search the stock images for a face, something that we could use to kind of animate with this software. So let's go ahead and click on search stock images. And when you jump in here, you might notice that it's a bunch of just random photos, which I've seen some of these already being animated, people popping them in the Facebook group. But let's go up here and type face and see what we get. Now, you guys might have seen me do this one. This is what we're actually going to be doing our tutorial on. But before I go ahead and select that, I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about what you're looking at, what type of photo that you want to select, the kind of things that I actually look for that could possibly be animated and be best suited for the software. So obviously this one is the one I used because it pops out, it's colorful. It has textures on there. You can see the little lines on her face. We can go ahead and take a look at a couple other examples in here on possible photos to select. There's a cat one in there. I don't know why the cat's face is in a face. Maybe I should have put human face in there. But this photo right here next to the colored one, it might be a little bit tough to animate something like this just because everything's pretty much washed out. You might be able to get away with doing her eyebrows, her eyes, maybe her hair, but this side of her face is kind of, I mean, you can't see her cheek line, and it blends in. Also, another reason why I wouldn't select this photo is that it is too close to the camera, and I like to use the zoom effect on these videos and place music behind them. Most of the videos that I'm going to be making are going to be square just because it's more universal. I only need to make one video to go ahead and post on Facebook, Instagram. I think even LinkedIn supports square video, and YouTube does too as well. So it's pretty universal to use the square option. As you can see, when you pop in the square option, it zooms in on her face like that, but it doesn't leave me any room to do the zoom effect at the end that I like to do, unless you focus on her eyes and it's zooming in right there. But let's go ahead and go back and look at some of the other photos. You also don't want a photo with someone's face who are too far away. So like this one might be a little bit tough just because she's a bit far away. You're not going to really see the animation effect when a person is so far away and the landscape is, kind of blurred out. It isn't even crisp. Now, like I said, some of the things that I like to look for when I'm selecting a photo is things with texture, things with color, some interesting things. Because you got to remember, most of these videos are going to be going on social media. So you're trying to create something that is already good, but you're trying to animate it to make it better. And stop people from scrolling either on Facebook or Instagram and actually get them to read the post or whatever that this video is going to be about. Whether it's going to be a quote or a certain amount of text, like click here or click below, something like that. But let's go ahead and take a look at a couple more of these, and then we'll just jump right into the tutorial. So when you look at some of these, like this lady right here, she might be a little bit tough to animate. You might be able to get away with doing her eyebrows, maybe the eyeshadow on her eyes. Makeup it will look great with using PhotoVibrance and animating her lips, maybe her hair. Since it's a white background, you would this photo would look good with masking out the white background and putting some like embers behind her, or a different color maybe, and some embers to really make this pop. But let's go ahead and go back and look at one more example before we jump into the tutorial. Let's see. Look for we'll look for a photo that really pops. I actually did one on this one because it was interesting. It's a mask with an eye, a lady standing there. It's something that would be interesting to go ahead and post on social media, but when you make it square, it kind of cuts off everything. So this one would actually be like a landscape one. You'd have to probably put bars on the top and bottom to make it square with whatever you want it to say. That would probably look good. But let's go ahead and go back and get started with this tutorial. All right, now we got the photo in on the canvas of PhotoVibrance. Let's go ahead and make it square. Make square, click next, and let's go ahead and start animating. That's what a lot of people think. They just want to come in here and start putting a bunch of arrows, anchors on places that they don't want to move. But what I like to do, since you're looking at this is a pretty intense photo. Her eyes are probably going to be the main focal point, her nose, and the lips. These are kind of the areas that you want to focus on when you're looking at the face. And then the outline of her hands. You don't want any of this stuff to move, because otherwise it's going to look like a big blurry mess. So let's go ahead and start anchoring out, pretty much drawing with the anchors around the creases that we don't want to move. So I'm just going to go ahead and select a single anchor, and I'm just going to go around her eyes like this. I always like to start with the eyes first. I don't know why. And now let's go ahead and focus on her lips. So we're going to do the crease of her lips right in here, and then we'll work on the outer edge. Since her bottom lip, it's a little blurry right there already on the photo, we're going to kind of have to work on the anchors right here, just because I can foresee either the bottom blending in with the top or the top blending in with the bottom right here. Since it's part of the photo, we can't really help that, but we're going to see what we can do with it. Okay, now it looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and start animating this photo. So what I did when I originally created this was I had the arrow path going down and one's going up her hands and all around. So I'll go ahead and explain that, how I did that and what it actually looks like. So I wanted to first explain the arrows. Now I noticed that if you use a single arrow, a lot of you might be doing this, creating a picture like this, a PhotoVibrance video like this. If you notice, all the arrows are different lengths, and they're going to cause lines, because I think at the end of each of these arrows, it's what it does is it creates, I noticed that it creates like a little line on each of these, and that's definitely not what we want. We want it to be more uniform. So let's go ahead and get rid of those. Delete those. I instead use the path. I use the path especially when I'm going long distances. So I'm going from like the top of her forehead down to the tip of her nose, or right from her hands all the way up. And then on the small intricate details, I will go ahead and use the single arrow to go ahead and animate the parts that I need to move. So let's go ahead and start putting the arrow paths on her. Again, it doesn't need to be straight. I'm drawing with a mouse, but we can see what the end result looks like. Ooh, I went right over the anchor, so we'll have to definitely fix that one. There we go. Now, let's fix that. Fix that. There we go. So let's go ahead and arrow path out. Now for the eyebrows, for these paths, I usually go with the direction of the photo. So for her eyebrows, I'm just tracing out her eyebrows like so. Trying to do it the best I can with a mouse. I know it's a little difficult at times. Outline just like that, and then for her forehead I just continued with this arc kind of motion that I'm doing, so arcing it like that. And then followed her eyelid crease down there, eyelid crease, and see how the arc is the same as these. So the direction of the movement is going to continue to go like that. Put another little one right there. And then if we need more movement in here, we can zoom in and do that with single arrows later. But now for her cheeks, we're just going to follow the arc that I already made. Go down like that. Perfect. Perfect. So let's go ahead and work on the hands. Now you'll notice that she has knuckles right here. So we're gonna have to kind of curve the path around to go just the same in the same direction that she's holding her hands on her face right here. So let's go ahead and we'll follow all the way around and all the way up. Let's go ahead and work on this knuckle right now. That looks good. Perfect. And again, it doesn't need to be perfect because we're doing so many of these paths. They will all kind of blend in together with each other. Yeah, I'll delete that one. That one's going over the anchor. Perfect. Let's go ahead and take a peek at what it looks like right now. Look at that. Almost looks like the original. Let's go ahead and keep animating. We're going to go ahead and work on her upper lip, lips, and the bottom here, and then we can go and tweak in all this stuff. See how it's creating a line right here? We'll go ahead and tweak that, get rid of that. Possibly go in and take care of all the detail stuff in a little bit. So for the lips, I originally did a circle, which was okay, but we're going to go ahead and just push the animation so it pushes down into her top lip, and then maybe we'll have the bottom one going like this, and then we'll put a little bit of animation into her lips as well. Okay. Perfect. To a single arrow. Do these ones going down. Let's go ahead and take a look at what it looks like now. Okay, it's coming together. See right here where I had thought that it was blurry, it's going to be pulling. Kind of looks like it's pulling from the bottom up, blending into her bottom lip. We're going to go ahead and try and fix that. But first, let's try and anchor and get rid of that line that we were seeing right here. So for that, I'm going to use the path for the anchors. So I just go to anchors, path, and I'm going to do it off the canvas. In case any of these arrows are pulling from below it. Let's look at it now. There we go. No line. The line is gone. So let's go ahead and start working on her lip, that problem area that I had discussed before. Go ahead and pull those up, get them closer to that arrow. Maybe angle this one over a little bit. Let's look at it now. You can kind of see, stop the line right there. Put another arrow right in here. Make sure to anchor down these lips. All right, it's looking good. See when we zoom out? Perfect. It's looking good, looking good. All right, perfect. Let's go ahead and try and animate, put some animation into her eyes right here. Looks like I accidentally put an anchor spot right there, but that's okay. We can move it. Select anchors. I'm going to move it right into the center of her eye. And look at that, you can see the cameraman right in the reflection of her eyeball. And then we want to anchor out her eye. Put those right on the edge because we're going to animate this stuff inside of her eyes. Because when we do that zoom effect, it's really going to make these eyes pop and people will really focus on them. Let's go ahead and fix these. Perfect. So let's go ahead and start animating the eye. I'm just going to select a single arrow. You don't need a path for this because, like I said before, this is such a small area. we're only going to need maybe 2 or 3 arrows in here. Just one maybe pushing the animation of the color of her eyes down, one pushing it to the side, and then one back up, so it looks like her eyes, the color in her eyes are spinning. So I'll do 1 arrow down, 1 arrow up this way, and 1 arrow that way. Let's take a look at it. Hopefully it's not making it square. Let's see. Looks pretty good. Probably adjust those arrows so that it makes it look more rounded in there. Let me see here. Put that down more. Put this out more. That way it's not so close to the anchor. You can adjust this one. Okay, let's look at it now. That looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and work on the other eye. Put a few more anchors in there. Select a single arrow. And we're going to do 3 in here. And then we'll adjust them as needed. Let's go and play that. Let's take a look. That one actually looks pretty good. Not much moving of the arrows that we need, but we'll go ahead and see if we can get that closer out to the edge. That one down. Let's take a look. That looks pretty good. Okay. Now some of the things that I'm noticing that aren't moving, like I said, is maybe we can go in here and draw a few more paths closer to her eyes, because this stuff is all anchored in here. We don't have to worry about that moving. So I'm going to go ahead and try and do that right now. We'll see what it looks like. Let's play it. See, now her eyelid is moving. She looks pretty good. She looks pretty good. This looks pretty close to the original that I made already. The only other thing that I think that we could do to make this look better, you notice that it says speed right here. Most people probably leave this at whatever the default is right here on the setting. I noticed that when I play it faster, the animation plays faster, and it almost looks like her skin like gives like this glow type of a thing, and it actually looks like it's like real and moving. So I went ahead and I upped that, but just remember, when you do up the speed, you're going to have to make more loops. I like to make about a 30-second video because I'm going to play some music behind it, maybe possibly some text, but anything under 30 seconds will auto loop on Facebook anyway, so that will be good. Before I render this, just check. That looks good. Looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and we'll stop this and we'll go ahead and render it, and we will go ahead and start the zoom effect. You don't want to add the text in here. If you're adding a zoom effect where it's slowly zooming in on the face, you want to do that in an editing software like Premiere Pro or Create Studio, whichever you have. If you have Create Studio, I know a lot of you do, you can go ahead and throw it into Create Studio, add the text, the slow zoom, and the music all in one. You can do that right there in the same software. Let's go ahead and go do that, and I will see you right over there in 1 second. Okay, great. Now that we're in Create Studio, let's go ahead and open our video and put it out onto the Create Studio canvas. So we want to go ahead and create a new project. And since I made that square, let's go ahead and the height is 1080. I already know the width is 1080. Perfect. So let's go ahead and import our media. So bring it over to the canvas. So the first thing that we want to do is add the slow zoom. So all I did was go in here and under motion, click the out tab, click zoom. We want the scale up, and you notice that it puts here at the end. All I did to create the slow zoom throughout the whole entire video was I dragged that over. Now when you notice when you click play, it zooms in. It zooms in pretty fast. So by the end of the video, that's 30 seconds, we'll go ahead and shorten that up. But at the end of the video, it's going to be too close. So we want to go ahead and slow the zoom down. So all we do is go here and we click animation settings. We want to make this somewhere around 1.5. So we'll go ahead and make that 1.5. We'll take a look at it again. And look, you get that slow, buttery smooth zoom. When we get music on here, maybe some text, it'll look really good on social media. Let's go ahead and shorten this up so it's right under the 30 seconds. We'll make it about 29 seconds. Scale up. Perfect. Now all you need to do is add text and music, which is simple. Just click text. You can type whatever you want, your favorite quote, or you could write, welcome to, here's my first digital art. Let's make it all caps. Digital creation. Perfect. Go ahead and center that. Change the font. You can import fonts if you want, or you can select. They have a bunch of them in here. But ideally, you want to select something that's not thin, something that's bold, that people will be able to read, something that will look good. So let's go ahead and select Carino, and let's make it bold. Perfect. And we'll just put that, in case we had any other imperfections that I missed, let's just put that down right there. Perfectly centered. Extend that out to the end of the video. Let's go ahead and add some music. So since I originally made this as a quote, I just went in here and I selected something that was like inspirational or cinematic. All we're going to do is drag the music over onto our canvas. It adds it to the bottom. We only need 30 seconds of it. So what we can do is go ahead and shorten the song up. And that's it, folks. Again, my name is Arthur Wainio, and until the next tutorial, I hope you enjoyed this and you create create your own masterpiece face. Thank you. Welcome to PhotoVibrance. My name is Arthur Waino, and I will be your guide today on this tutorial. Today we're going to be focusing on using some of the effects, in particular the sky effect and masking, and let's go ahead and jump right into that. So first, let's go ahead and select an image. Now, I want you to think about the type of things that you can use for like replacing the sky. Things that I kind of think about are maybe a real estate ad with a house and the sky moving in the background. It seems pretty easy. Another use case would probably be something for like gyms. Maybe I can find a photo of somebody running and then have the sky moving in the background, because we can always overlay the text on top of that and go ahead and customize it for each of the individual people that we're trying to sell it to. So let's go ahead and start with a house. So I'm just going to type in house, and we're just going to select one of the first ones here. We're going to go ahead and select this one. There we go. Now obviously it's this photo that we selected is not ideal for a square or vertical, because most of the house is going to be chopped off. So we're going to go ahead and leave it as a landscape. We're going to click next, and let's go ahead and jump into the effects. So now you can see that there's 3 tabs here. There's overlays, effects, and skies. We're going to click on the skies tab. And they have multiple different skies that you can select from. We obviously aren't going to select any of the nighttime ones. I mean, you can. It's going to make the photo a little bit dark. But I kind of like these ones because they're moving fast. There's a lot of movement, especially when you're posting this on social media. You want something that's going to catch the eye. So you can select any of these that you like. I'm going to go ahead and select this one with the clouds moving back and the clouds above there moving forward. As you can see, it covers the entire image of the house. So what we need to do is we need to draw a mask so it reveals the house through the cloud, through the clouds moving. So we're going to click on Draw Mask. And what you see here is that this red circle is going to reveal all the sky wherever this red is covering. So to make this a little bit faster, you'll notice that there's a pencil size here. You can make this bigger so we can cover more area. What you want to do is you want to get it as close to the house as possible, and then we can fine tune it later. Oops. As you can see, I went over a little bit of the house. That's okay. We can click on this tab right here where it says Erase Mask, and we get the opposite effect. We can erase our mistake. So let's go ahead and continue drawing the mask. As you can see, I'm just getting it to as close to the edge as possible. And then we're going to go in and fine tune this so that it looks real good. Let's go ahead and zoom in here. Make our pencil size a little bit smaller. And this doesn't need to be perfect. Like I said, if you make a mistake, you can always click Erase Mask. So I can reveal the edge right here. Reveal this edge right here. Edge of the house right there. Obviously, working with the mouse, it's a little bit tough to get exact. Part of the tree is covered. We'll erase part of that. We don't want the sky over the tree. Let's grab our image, pull it over, see what we missed. Looks like we missed a lot, because as you can see, the sky is going over the house a little bit there. So let's finish off. This part. Zoom in. There we go. Again, you don't want the mask to be on the edge of the house, so you just want to get it as close as possible. And we can leave a little bit of the sky above the house. That's fine. Go in here and finish up our touches. Okay, so now that we got most of the masking done, we can click play to preview it. As you can see, there's hard lines, but we're going to go ahead and fix that now, and I'm going to show you how to fix this. Oh, there's a spot we missed right there. Click finish. Now, you'll notice the hard lines. We're going to go ahead and fix those right now, because obviously this does not look good at all. There's an option here called edge fading, and in other programs this is called feathering. It's pretty much the same thing, and what it's going to do is blur the edges of these hard lines so that it's going to give this house a glow. There you go. Look at that. All right, perfect. So now the masking is complete. You can go ahead and render this out if you'd like, or you can continue editing and save this as a template for future use. Like I said, this would be probably ideal for if you were prospecting realtors and you're trying to sell your services to them and you want to do something quick and easy just to get their attention. One way you can do that is by going and grabbing their image off of their website or one of their social media ads, and you can remove the background and you can pop them right in here. So I went ahead and did that. I went ahead and grabbed a Pexels photo of a guy in a suit, a businessman in a suit, and I'm gonna go ahead and just import him. I already removed the background in interest of saving time. So say this is our realtor. We're trying to get his attention to possibly create some video ads for him. So let's go ahead and spice this up a little bit more. Most of the real estate ads, they have some text and possibly the price of the house. We'll do a circle. Let's go ahead and move this behind the realtor. So we're going to go and show layers. We're going to move the shape behind the gentleman there. Let's go ahead and select a darker color, like so. Make this a little bit bigger. And then we can add some text. We want to make this bold because, again, this is going on to social media. We want it to pop and really stand out. Go ahead and resize that and get it in there. Since this is going on social media, a lot of times what you want to do is you want to add a call to action, have them either comment below or click something. So we're going to just put comment below for details. Okay, go ahead and center that, make it bold. Make sure our Oswald font is selected. And we're going to resize it. And we can go ahead and even put the price in here if we want. Or you can put a phone number. If you already know the realtor's name, you can even actually put that right here. Contact Joe below for details. Anything. This is complete. Now, if you wanted to go ahead and have this text animated and have possibly something else right here, you can go ahead and render out the video that you had before and take it into Create Studio to add those animations and save it as a template inside there as well. And there you go. Today, folks, what we learned is how to use some of the effects within PhotoVibrance, drawing a mask to reveal the sky, erase scan mask, and edge fading to make everything all congruent and look pretty. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you on the next one.
Yeah, that is it for today, and I will see you guys in the next video.